Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah, we came a long way, and that's what the songs say. And I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah, I can do all things. Yeah,
hey, Love Your Life family. Welcome back to another Loving Your Life podcast. It's your sis, Crystal.
What's going on, fam? It's Andre. We're excited to be with you.
Yes, indeed. We are back at you with another discussion about loving your life. So what's going on, baby?
Man. Today was a doozer. Obviously, woke up this morning, had some awesome plans, a great agenda, so I thought. And I feel like I wasted so much time trying to repair something. And I was so frustrated because I felt like, no, I can do this. And I spent probably like $40 in tools that I needed to take apart this lawnmower. And I took it apart 2 or 3 different times trying to get it fixed. I should have just dropped it off at the mechanic at the repair shop. And that was just one of the things I had on my list to get done. And I was irritated because the reality of it is I wanted to accomplish fixing it. So, man, it's just one of those days, woke up feeling good, and I still feel good, but I am a little perturbed the fact that I didn't get that completed. But, live and learn. So that was one thing. Obviously, got some other things accomplished, but it's just kind of annoying, nagging at me. But it is what it is.
I hear you. Today was... It was good. It wasn't a bad day. Had, parts of it that were productive. And I don't know, the day just got away from me today. It just seems like so much was going on that, you kind of look up like, whoa. And so, love what I do, being a doula. So I'm in doula mode, and it takes up a lot of time and mental energy, but it's a good thing. I love what I do. And so, shout out to all the new mommies out there and all the mamas, the seasoned mothers out there holding it down. Continue to do your thing.
All right, let me jump in here too. Shout out for the fathers holding it down, the new fathers. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave us brothers out. Come on now.
Yeah, we can't be mommies without you.
True.
I just sit and think about what you say. A lot of times when we get so focused on wanting to do so much, and you look up and the day is gone, and I think that just really applies to so many areas of life. You get so focused on it has to be done this way and in this time frame, and then you look up and it's like, okay, I've been at this for this long. When do I release it? When do I, shake it off and realize, hey, I just need to pass this off for somebody else to do? And so it makes me think about parenting.
What do you mean when you say parenting? Like, tell me what's your thoughts?
It's a lot of times you go into parenting thinking that it's going to be this way, and you have all these dreams and expectations for your child, and you read up on all kind of literature and how you're going to be this phenomenal parent and staying ahead and get your kids on schedule for sleeping and eating, and then they get out and jack your whole world up.
Okay, all right. So really, basically, unrealistic expectations when parenting.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, no, hey, if you think about it, babe, we have some stories.
Yes.
So our oldest will be 17. He's 16 right now. He'll be 17 in August. Mm-hmm. Man. That makes me think. Unrealistic expectations when parenting. As we talk about often, loving your life, you do all that you can do to prepare, take care of yourself. That's what Love Your Life is. That's what we're really about. Taking care of your body, your health, your spiritual needs, diet, exercise, taking care of you. And with that comes with taking care of those that are in your immediate sphere, but also extending love to those, that you may not have a lot in common with. Just, loving life. So, but this makes me think about unrealistic expectations when parenting and our story. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget. Loving your life. So we were reading about fathering, becoming a father, reading about becoming a mother. I remember, reading books to our oldest when he was in the womb, just reading to your belly. And doing all those things, you putting the crib together and just the whole nine. But one of the things that just makes me laugh now. So we took these, what are those classes called when you, the breathing class? Lamaze. So we this was our first time, expecting. So I was getting ready to be a new father. My wife was getting ready to be a new mother. And, we was doing what they said you need to do. So we registered for these Lamaze classes. And, I remember we filled out all the paperwork, paid the little fee, et cetera, et cetera. I'm reading the little books. And, how many classes did we go to?
I don't remember.
I remember we went to one or two classes. Breathe in, breathe out, rub your back, and, all this stuff. And long story short, man, when it was on and my wife was in that delivery room, so much of that breathing in and breathing out, all I knew was just, let me rub your back, baby. Let me rub your back, breathe. I mean, it was so much stuff that we were taught in the Lamaze classes. But man, when our oldest was coming into the world, I don't remember a quarter of that stuff. All I remember is rubbing your back, saying it's gonna be okay, babe, breathe.
Right.
And so it's just funny now because we do have expectations, we have goals. Like I said, I had a goal to finish the repair the lawnmower, and not to say that was unrealistic, but the thing is this, once we do what we can to prepare, at the end of the day, especially in the case of parenting, you're going to have structure, you're going to have rules, you're going to read how to do this, how to do that. But never box yourself in to the point where you've made expectations that you can't accomplish or that are so far-fetched. It's a detriment to the joys of parenting. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Because that is how you learn, being able to, you set your plans but when something comes and wrecks those plans because it wasn't cookie cutter, being able to embrace, oh, okay, so this is how things are going to flow for my family. Because what we're reading up on is people applying the tools that worked for their family. And that's just what they are. They're tools, they're suggestions, and then you need to know to apply them appropriately, but not not boxing yourself into that if it does not happen this way, then I'm not a good mom or a good dad, or I'm just not doing a good enough job, because each child is going to be different. You can't even set the same plan or expectations for each child. Because their personalities are different, your pregnancies will be different. And so just really being able to release yourself of that and extend grace to yourself because you are learning. And
it's cool to have, obviously, I sit and think about us. I mean, we talk to, mothers and fathers about the joys of parenting and, what advice would you give us? And these are all good things. And so again, we had our expectations and goals going into being first-time parents. But I just remember, man, so not only the Lamaze classes, but just so much stuff was like a whirlwind. You learn to do this and do that. Don't put your baby in the bed with you. They have to, be in the crib. And again, hey, for those parents who were able to be consistent and have your child in the crib in their own room, great for you. Man, that God bless. That's awesome. That wasn't our story. No. I mean, we tried it, all I remember is like a zombie trying to get some sleep. So I got to a point that, babe, just go get him. Go get him. And our oldest, he spent, quite a while in our bed just because, we were both I was working full time. Wife was working full time. I was in school full time. And I just remember he was crying and crying. And we was trying to get him used to sleeping in his crib, in his room. We had a little monitor. I found myself every 2 minutes looking at the video monitor. I couldn't sleep because I'm looking at the video monitor trying to see his chest. Is he breathing?
Right.
I mean, it was so much stuff. And so for us, that was just an unrealistic expectation. I remember getting up, baby, just go get him. I need to get a couple hours of sleep. And, we had good lofty goals, but that expectation for us, for our oldest son, Matter of fact, all of our kids sleeping in their own room, man, that just wasn't us.
Right. And there's a lot of things that contributed to our choices, and that again looks different for each family. And I know you go back and there's research and you look at the American pediatrics and the dangers and but taking the safety measures that you have, there's a lot of things that you can add to your bed to keep your baby safe and different things that you can do. But again, that looks different for everybody, and making a sound decision that's not going to put yourself in a physical or mental place that's not good when it comes to raising children.
And I think, for sure, just thinking back on it now, I mean, it's funny now. I can laugh. But I just remember going through it. I was like, man, is this ever going to end? Like, is this dude going to ever stop crying? Do they throw up that much? Do they go to the bathroom that much?
Yeah.
And so, again, some of it was due to just, we had expectations from what we read and you do this and you do that and you'll be fine. And yes, we were fine. And it all worked out. However, some of the expectations that we had about, being new parents and how it was going to be was so far-fetched from our reality. And so, like I said, I can laugh now, but I just remember going through it and, doing the best we could, surviving. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, on my end, I can say, as exhausting as it was, I love being a mommy. I love babies. I love the process and watching them develop and all of the new things. And so I just vividly remember days of you coming in I'm just in tears because I just love them so much. And you're looking at me thinking are you okay? Is something wrong? And, I would just be an emotional mess. It's our baby and I just love them so much. And
well, don't get it twisted. I love them so much too.
Yeah, definitely.
But for sure, I need some sleep too. And so my wife would be over there just, he cool and I'm like, yeah, baby, okay. I'm trying to get some sleep to get up at 5 a.m. But one of the things, and I remember, my brother was talking to me. He's like, no, man, you just got to let him self-soothe, trying to get him to go to sleep. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this self-soothe thing. And my oldest just kept crying when he was a baby. Why? I mean, just crying nonstop. And like I said, I got to the point, this self-soothe is not working. Let me go do something. And for us, like I said, it was having him in the bed with us, while we slept. So that really stood out for me, for sure. Man, what else? What has come to? What are your other thoughts when you think about our first time being, parents?
I think for me, I had to learn really quick that everybody else's experience wasn't going to be my experience.
Yeah.
And that's huge because when I didn't stop nursing at a certain time or didn't do things a certain way, old people's the way that they did it, they would speak to me as if I was in the wrong because I didn't do it that way. And I remember I learned to stop sharing certain details with people because I didn't even want the stress of hearing their opinions or telling me that I was doing something wrong. And I had to learn that what worked for them was just that. It was for them.
What do you mean, breastfeeding? People were trying to tell you what you were doing wrong?
Saying, well, they're 6 months, you can start weaning them now. And that was not the choice I wanted to make. Or saying, if you hold them, they're going to be spoiled. And in my mind, I'm like, this baby has been in my body for 9 months. And then you take a baby from a woman's body, stick them in a separate room. To me, that was just mean. And again, this is my perspective because all they know is the rhythm of the mother's blood, body temperature, all that. And then you take them away and then you call them spoiled because they're crying. To me, those things didn't make sense. And so I flowed with what my heart and mind was telling me, that our child needed to be near me, smell me, feel me, hear my heartbeat. And that is what comforted him. And then he was a preemie, and so he was 4 pounds, 12 ounces. He was a little peanut. And so his home was my chest. And I was perfectly at peace and fine with that. And I knew it was going to take a lot out of me, but that's part of entering into parenthood.
For sure, man. My wife, she was totally at peace. That's for sure. She was totally at peace, you know. And I'm over here struggling. Like, okay, this little dude want to go back to his room so I can have some alone time with my wife. Look, even if she talking loud enough, she's just smiling, and I'm smiling, but I'm also like, ooh, man, remember them days.
Yeah. And that it does take a toll on marriage if you're not intentional to have a conversation. Don't forget the person that you came together to create this baby with, you know. And so being able to check back in, and there's tons of emotions and endorphins that are being released in your body for a woman that when taking care of a baby. And so being able to truly have those that you trust around you so that you can check back in and continue to nurture the relationship that brought that baby forth.
For sure, you're nurturing whole nine. And brothers, you know, make sure you have some weights. Make sure you have some ice bags, and you know, you have you some stuff to take your mind off of it
for that 6 week,
for that unrealistic expectation.
Clink clink.
Because my wife was, if you know, you just heard her say, you know, our first baby was on her chest, and it felt like forever. So my expectations of new marriage, and hey, that went out the door real quick. And again, like I said, I'm thankful, but man, it was a sacrifice.
And 4 kids later,
you know,
he was getting his time.
You know what I'm saying? So, because I had some expectations, I had some serious expectations. But on a serious note too, man, like I said, it's. I just thank God for our children and family. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I just want to encourage, you know, the fathers, mothers, listen. You know, you read, you learn from those that has come before you. People can pour into you. But when it comes to parenting your children, you know, learn all that you can. But at the end of the day, you know, just be mindful. Sometimes we put unrealistic expectations that cannot be accomplished, or we're trying to accomplish goals and things or parent the way someone else parented. And it's just not unrealistic for our families or for your family. So give yourself the ability and the peace to say, you know what, I'm going to do something different, and don't be tripping. And that's something we had to learn, you know, over time.
Definitely.
I mean, because there were certain things we were just trying to do like our parents did, or what, you know, people told us we should do, until we realized that, wait a minute, you know, we're grown, and, you know, and not that we didn't realize it, but just saying, wait a minute, it's okay to not try to follow exactly like someone else did.
Right.
And so just know that, you know, you have freedom to do things differently versus, you know, trying to force the issue. You know, modify and adjust. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. You know, another thing I would say was probably one of the hardest, and still the hardest, is just your desire to protect your children. That does not go away. At least it hasn't for me. I won't speak for you, babe. But it has not gone away for me. And you have to use wisdom to not project your own fears or questions onto your children, because they have to grow, they have to learn. But it's given to you by God. But on the flip side of it, it's helped me to realize the intensity that I feel to protect my children, how much God wants to protect us.
Well, and for sure, you're talking about, you know, the protection and how it never goes away, and you don't know about me, of course.
Well,
You know, as a father, no, that never goes away. And even as you were saying, I was thinking of that. I was thinking of The Color Purple. You told Harpo to beat me, I kill him dead. And the reality of it is, man, I don't care how old my kids are now. You know, I mean, look, it's going to be on and popping. And so that instinct to protect. With that said, babe, you know, I want to stress, because we had people, you know, and most of them was just in love. But, you know, we were very particular about, you know, when we brought our children out, you know, when we were ready to expose them. You know, we kept them, you know, in the house probably for the first 4 weeks.
6 weeks.
You know, 4 to 6 weeks. But I just remember people would come over and just, oh, here, let me take, and just trying to grab my baby. It's like, whoa, you know. But we had to learn it's going to be okay. You know, they're our loved ones. But at the same time, it's okay to say, wait a minute, you know, this is all new to us.
Yeah, well, we didn't let anybody hold our first child until he was over 3 months old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except for mom and dad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they held him. And then your brother and his wife. But outside of that, nobody touched him for the first 3 months.
So, hey.
Yeah.
First time parents, man, we were very, very particular, very, anal in some things.
Yeah.
I mean, but we just didn't know,
Well, for all of our children, it was nobody held them outside of us and Nana and Papa before 7 weeks old.
Yeah.
And I think that's wisdom, because.
Well, for us, but
Yeah.
again, I mean, that was just what we wanted to do, and
Right.
we were not swayed by what other people thought, and so it's going to be okay.
Yeah, so for those of you that are maybe expecting parents or new parents, that feeling that you have to protect your kid, it's not going away. But it's good though. I think that it teaches that you learn so much about yourself along the way. Another thing is our children have been incredible teachers. They've taught us how to remain vulnerable. They are so straight up. They have no filter.
Well, and like you said, they do teach us a lot. But one of the things I know for me, and I hope this is releasing somebody, especially as men. I know I was afraid at first. There was just some fears I was wrestling with internally. Wanting to be a good father, didn't want to mess it up, fatherhood up. Wanted to make sure I was a good example. These are all concerns when you love someone, you brought someone into the world, and so these are all valid concerns. But I do remember just internally at the very beginning, putting some unnecessary stress on me because I was just so worried about being the perfect father. Listen, we make mistakes, we learn in the process. So I hope, as men, my brothers who are looking to be first-time fathers, or even if you're at a place where you're afraid of it, look, regardless of how much you prepare and how much you read, nothing can truly prepare you for fatherhood or even motherhood until that time comes. But at the end of the day, do all that you can do and then roll with it. Learn on the go as you need to, modify and adjust. It's going to be okay.
Definitely. Another one, babe, I would say is teach them how to talk. Like,
teach who how to talk? Me?
Your children. No.
I thought you told me, girl.
No.
I said, I know how to talk.
Like creating space for them that they learn at an early age that what they're going through, what they're feeling is safe with you. Versus berating them or belittling what you don't understand, so that they learn that they can't talk to you. And so when they become older and you're trying to have a conversation with them because you never paved the way, it's frustrating.
Right. So that ties into an unrealistic expectation. If you're modeling shut down, don't talk when you get upset, yell or whatever, it would be unrealistic of you to think that they're going to just be great talkers at first.
Right.
I mean, they're going to learn to either shut down or flight, just hit the door. So I want to stress, again, part of parenting is modeling and being that example. And so if you provided an environment or if you've taught, your kids to not be vocal because of your anger, your frustration, then you're setting unrealistic expectation for them to communicate when you haven't modeled it. And so I think as parents, and even as a father, for sure, because I'm high strung, dude. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things too, I had to tell my children, because a lot of times when I'm passionate, I'm excited, my hands are moving, or if I get loud, but it's not like yelling at them. It's like if I'm excited about something, oh, great job, man, and but again, it's unrealistic if you're setting like the example of yelling at the kids when they make a mistake, and then you expect them to be an extrovert. That's not always the case, especially if you've modeled that they should be something else.
Yeah, I sit and think about as they got older and were upset or frustrated and, raising questions. And it was cracking me up. One time we were sitting down with one of our kids and they were trying to explain and they were going on and on and on. And you looked at me like, oh my gosh, like this is going on forever. And, but it was really good. It wasn't like an annoyance or like, okay, be quiet already, but just like, oh my gosh, why are they talking so much? But learning, like they learned, it's okay, say how you're feeling and to talk. But parents, as you set that atmosphere and that space for your kids, you have to be ready for what they're going to unpack. And it's really powerful, when your kids can really come to you and be naked and unashamed about how they're feeling and looking for you to hold that space with them, which is just crucial because there's too many things now that will entice them to go somewhere else and get misinformed. And that's the last thing that we want for our children.
I think too, one of the things, both of our families, our parents, coming from the South, and, our parents cooked dang near every day. Mm-hmm. And I remember growing up, my mom, for sure, breakfast and dinner usually every day, and most of the time lunch too. And then the same with your mom. Yes. But when we came together, obviously my wife, because she can cook now, don't trip. My wife can burn, and I can throw down too, girl. Right there, right. So I can throw down. But for us, again, even something like that, I mean, we started off obviously doing a lot of cooking, and we still cook. But with both of us having careers and raising multiple children, and, I'm in school, they were in school and working, and, it was a lot going on. That expectation of we have to do it just like our parents did. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had to shift. You learn, boy, to put that crock pot to use. You learn to shop and buy these simple meals that you can prepare. Yes. It wasn't homemade biscuits. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't homemade cornbread. It was, Jiffy Mix. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just stuff that was right for us in the season that we were in. Right. New parents, on the go, developing careers. Look, we need some chicken nuggets we could microwave or put in the stove. And so, and not that, and again, we both had a great model of, primarily our mothers doing most of the cooking. Mm-hmm. But, and both my wife and I can cook. But for us, new parents, on the go, school, careers, we began to shop differently, cook differently, still, health conscious as best we could. But at the end of the day, these 4 or 5 course homemade meals, we just were not able to keep up that same standard. And
modify and adjust.
And again, you got to do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. And so, that's how it is. So again, if you're living in the shadows or the footsteps of your father or your mother, and you're trying to do it just like them, listen, don't put unrealistic expectations on how you parent, of how you father, of how you mother. You learn from your parents, you glean from those, your guardians, your loved ones. Try to glean as much as you can. But remember, it is going to look different. Nothing is going to be a carbon copy. So don't set yourself up having unrealistic expectations, trying to do something just like someone else did.
Because that is part of loving your life. You're creating something that is unique to your family. And it's authentic, and it's something that you can call your own. And you guys get to look back and look at how your story was developed. And it looks different for each family. And that's the power of being uniquely made and your own differences. And it's cool because you get to, down the road, talk to other parents, tell them how you learned along the way, the mistakes that you made and the plans that you made, and even, talking to your kids about it. And it's so much fun. We have a blast talking to our kids about some of, our experiences with them as babies. And it brings so much joy to us and to our hearts because it was like, what? Let's just roll with it.
And listen, hey, to you fathers, let me tell you something about unrealistic expectations. Obviously I played ball all growing up in elementary, junior high school, played college ball. And so, I think most fathers, they want that first son to be like this, athlete that follow in their footsteps. And our first son, he could care less about a ball. And I remember we started him off in soccer. Kick the ball. 5, he looking at it like, wouldn't kick it. Throw the ball, he wouldn't throw it. Struggled to throw. Run with it. He looking at it like, I don't want to run with it. And I remember driving myself batty. Kick the ball. And it finally got to the point where I realized our oldest doesn't like sports. And it is okay. Regardless of his size, listen, it's okay. I had to remove that unrealistic expectation that my oldest son, my first son, was going to enjoy sports like I did. He doesn't, and it's okay. Yeah. And I love the things that he does. I love the things that he puts his mind to. But then, when he was 4 and 5 and 6 and just learning to play sports and absolutely hated it, I'm over there cringing, wanting him to kick it this way and throw it this way. And he was looking at the ball like, no big deal. I'd rather go play with the bugs, or something like that. And so for sure, that was a learning curve for me. Unrealistic expectation. Listen, all of our children, they're going to have their own person. Your children, our children have their own personality. Your children, they're going to be different. They're going to have their own personality. And it may not be like yours, but at the end of the day, part of loving your life is learning to love the uniqueness about your life and about your children's life and your family unit and what you bring to the table. So listen, fam, it's been real. Don't fall into the trap of unrealistic expectations when parenting.
Yes.
Be thankful for you and yours. Babe, tell them where they can check us out at.
Check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We love you.
Peace.
Shout to the city that raised me. Shout to the people that made me. I'm from the 80s. I don't think mumbling wavy. I grew up like on a Jay-Z. Maybe I'm crazy. I ain't been wondering lately. Feel like it's there for the taking. Feel like I'm good with the changes. Know who I am. And that's the most dangerous state.
Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.